This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
The numbers told the story, they always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gil Alexander on VSiN.
Good Tuesday morning to you. It is a numbers game at VSiN, the sports betting network, VSiN.com, Game Plus, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV, and of course, Sirius XM channel 158. It's Gil Alexander. It's Kelly Midland in the hizzy on this Tuesday. It's happening.
Not much, man. Good morning. How we doing?
Good morning to you. The 5-day football cavalcade has come to a conclusion.
I'm exhausted.
I was more exhausted yesterday, but yes.
I was
exhausted
too,
in the best of ways.
Yes, exactly.
In the best of ways. We will get into the Texans and the Steelers here momentarily. Just a reminder today on the show, we'll talk a little hockey with Jake Hahn, Matt Cox from Three Man Weave on college hoops, Drew Dinsick in his typical spot talking NFL and NBA with us. Maybe we can coax some Olympics out of him yet. I don't know if he's ready yet. We'll have to ask.
Yeah, no, but we got to keep asking.
We'll ask.
What I need in my life is some degenerate Olympics bet to make.
Little luge, little two-man luge thing.
I could bet the Olympics for the next 4 times, Gil, and it still wouldn't make up for the random marathon runner he gave out to me when I was in Key West what was that, 2 summers ago?
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite Drew Dinsick betting stories.
Man loves his Winter Olympics. Remember Jon Stewart's line, less sports than it is drunken dares. Jeff Erickson from RotoWire talking division round with us in the NFL playoffs. Now that those are all set to go, all 4 games this weekend, as they make the Bears game in Chicago, the late one on Sunday. Well, the mid-afternoon game. It's 5:30 p.m. Chicago time, I guess. Highs expected in the low teens, maybe not even getting to the teens. NFL Power Rankings a little later on. Yes, the Final 8. And looking forward to this. I know you are too, Kelly. Rick Gaiman will join us. Golf data analyst over at rickrungood.com. You can follow him on Twitter at rickrungood. Want to get into golfers to watch in the 2026 golf season as we're about to get underway here with the Sony Open. And also a huge contest he's running. The old primetime action one and done that did so many years
That's
ago.
right, man. I'm pumped. I'm already in it. You and I will have to get one going for the season this year. I think we got to get back to that. Got to get Gil back involved with the golf one and done.
But
we didn't do it last year.
We didn't do it last year. I love the one and done.
Rick, looking forward to it because not only we got the Sony Open starting this week, season long thoughts. We got Brooks Koepka coming back to the PGA Tour, so all that to hit with him. And one and done. He always does this with Survivor and one and done. A lot of strategy, a lot of kind of game theory stuff we'll talk through with him. Can't wait for that.
Yep, looking forward to that as we go country clubbing with golf in earnest finally. By the way, first great night in tennis last night for VSiN subscribers, VSiN.com/picks, 4-0.
Nice.
Clean
there you
sheet
go.
in tennis. Been flipping coins for the first week and a half. And
it's frustrating.
And then a big 4-0. Well, the data has to manifest, I guess, to some degree. So, again, don't have them on the show because of the way the time zones are. I'll handicap those after the show. We'll put them up on the website. Again, pays to be a subscriber. As far as football last night, the Texans and the Steelers. 30-6 is your final score. And honestly, maybe not reflective of just how bad it was.
Yeah.
For those who missed it, second time that the Steelers had the ball. 4th and 3 at the Houston 14. They decide to kick a field goal. 4th and 3 at the Houston 14. Boswell, 32-yard field goal. 3-0 Steelers. 6:02 left in the first quarter. Houston then, 1st and 10 at the Pittsburgh 40. Flea flicker, Kelly. What's with the plus territory flea flicker epidemic?
I have no idea because you've brought it up multiple times. I haven't really commented on it. It is silly. It is silly when you're that far down the other side of the field.
Stroud hit as he throws by Jack Sawyer. Fumbles. Yaya Black recovers. Pittsburgh from their own 44 after DK Metcalf straight drops a second down pass downfield, 3-0. Houston then goes 14 plays, 92 yards, and 7:01 on a drive, whose second play featured Stroud whiffing on a shotgun snap. That drive ends up in a gash fest. Marks for 6, 120, and 7 on the drive. Chubb for 9 and 6 in between. 49 yards on the ground. Right up the gut, most of it. Stroud to Kirk from 6 out. 7-3 Houston with 8:28 left in the second quarter. And ladies and gentlemen, that would prove to be an insurmountable lead.
Yeah. We'll get into this afterward. Houston, I still have a lot of question marks about. But, that drive looked so easy and clean.
Why did they keep going away from it? It's like, what are we watching? Another Pittsburgh 3-and-out after an intentional grounding by Rodgers. Houston, second play, subsequent drive. And this is what we're talking about. 2nd and 6 of the Houston 23. Stroud hit by Keanu Benton. Fumbles, recovered by T.J. Watt. Pittsburgh set up at the Houston 21. Your everyday garden variety 7-play, 4-yard drive against this Houston defense. 4th and 2 at the Houston 13. This time they decided to go for it. Rodgers to Thielen for 4. But as I mentioned, it was a 7-play, 4-yard drive. So after Rodgers was sacked on a subsequent 3rd down, they got to settle for the Boswell 35-yard field goal, 7-6. And then on with 1:57 left in the half, then Stroud missed a wide open Nico Collins that for many determined the first half spread.
Mm-hmm.
Brutal pass. Stroud was just awful. They end up punting. That's the end of the half. 7-6 Texans. It was 198-94 in total yards, 86-24 in rushing, -2 in turnovers, though, for the Texans. The Texans, the old Eddie Murphy sketch again in Saturday Night Live, where he's like, where he's doing the conceit about what it would be like to walk around town as a Caucasian. Like, here, take the newspaper. This was what the Texans were trying to do, and the Steelers refused to take the newspaper.
I mean, we sat here yesterday. I'm bashing Justin Herbert. C.J. Stroud said, "Hold my beer." Like, I mean, it was terrible.
Now,
5 fumbles.
So this was the point. Now, remember, all week long I was saying, I haven't made a bet on the Texans yet. I feel like the reason Rodgers was great against the Ravens because the Ravens generated no pass rush, and a 42-year-old Rodgers can really turn back the clock. But the Texans generate the most pass rush without even having to blitz. Mm-hmm. I love Houston. But because Dr. Bob and Rufus, respected names, loved Pittsburgh so much, I didn't make a pre-flop bet on this. But I'll tell you what I did do. I made a bet at halftime on the Texans because it was -3.5 at that point. I had seen a half of football. Mm-hmm. And to me, if there was ever a game that was so obvious what you were watching, like for all the unpredictability of what we were watching earlier in the week in the NFL, this played out exactly how the handicap should have been. 3rd quarter, Houston was getting the ball first, right? So it was angry at myself for not making a play, deciding I was going to trust my instincts, and the fact that everything I had seen corroborated that, and Houston was getting the ball first in the second half. But guess what happened? Houston matriculates from their own 25, 3rd and 4 at the Pittsburgh 14, in maybe Stroud's worst moment of the night. Instead of running, where he had a complete lane to get the first down, or throwing it away, or eating it, all of which would have been a better decision to what he did do. He forced it into the coverage, throws it behind the receiver, Brandon Echols picks it off. At this point, you're like, this is brutality. Mm-hmm. Like, C.J. Stroud could not play any worse than this. Pittsburgh from their own 4, they do get their first 3rd down conversion of the game at that point, but they still have to punt. Anyway, Pittsburgh gets the ball back again. They punt after Rodgers is sacked by Danielle Hunter. By the way, he fumbled it. It was recovered by his teammate, offensive lineman Mason McCormick, so it could have gotten bad then. It didn't. We're still talking about a 7-6 game at this point. Into the 4th quarter, Houston, by the way, first down on this next sequence. Nico Collins' head bashes into the ground. He has to be carted back. He never returns. 2nd down, Stroud mishandles yet another snap, recovers it, though. 3rd and 15 at their own 18, Stroud to Kirk for 49. This time they do settle for a Fairbairn 51-yard field goal, which he drilled to make it 10-6. And in my notes, with 13:07 left in the game, in my notes at that point, I do write insurmountable lead, 10-6. Even though it turned out 7-6, it turned out to be the insurmountable lead. Pittsburgh then 3rd and 12 at their own 43, and this is where a game that was still in the balance, in reality, though I thought it was insurmountable, really did become insurmountable. Will Anderson sacks Rodgers. He fumbles. It's picked up by Sheldon Rankins, 33 yards to the house, 17-6 Texans with 11:23 left. Now the texts are flying around. Hey, you know when the last time Mike Tomlin won a playoff game? Obama was in office. That kind of text flew around. I think Will said that one. Pittsburgh punts. 4th and 13 at the Houston 48 with 9:36 left. Can we just talk about this? I was watching with my brother at a restaurant with the TV, so I did not have the audio.
Yeah.
Did Troy Aikman or Joe Buck say anything about this?
Not that I remember.
Okay. This is...
I was bouncing back and forth though between NBA at this point.
It's a 17-6 game. They're in plus territory at the Houston 48, 4th and 13 with 9:36 left, and Mike Tomlin punts the football. Now, the only counter argument that one can possibly make to this is they were so inept on offense that they had a better chance of Houston doing something dumb offensively, that maybe the punt wasn't the most ridiculous thing in the world in this particular matchup on this night. I still think it was Tomlin being Tomlin and waving the white flag. How do you not go for it? Houston then goes 11 plays, 97 yards, 551. Stroud to Kirk for 33, the big one. 6 plays later, Marks in from 13, 24-6. And then it goes to farcical Pittsburgh, 4th play, 4th and 5 at their own 34. Rodgers picked by Caleb Bullock, 50 yards to the house, 30-6 after Fairbairn completely divoted on the extra point, 30-6. That's how it would end. And if that is the last game of Aaron Rodgers' career, let the record show it's a pick 6. Mm-hmm. And Aaron Rodgers was being coy after the game. We don't know what he's going to do. We don't know if he's going to try to play some more football, not under contract anymore, or will he go home and, be more introspective and do some more of his own research? Isn't that what he likes to do?
Yeah, sure.
He likes to do his own research, Kelly.
What is the next step? When Aaron Rodgers retires, what is the next step in the Aaron Rodgers career?
He's going to do more research. Yeah.
Do we see him ever again? I don't know if we ever do.
To my point, Hayden Wiggs here. The Texans blitzed just 4 times in this game. The Steelers had 101 net yards on the 34 non-blitz dropbacks, good for a 2.97-yard average for those bad at math, plus a pick. That's how dominant that Texans D was against Pittsburgh.
That was incredible. I know there'll be a lot of conversation about the Steelers after this game, but like the Texans, I find this so fascinating heading into the next round, Gil, right? Because there's a lot of confirmation bias after that game last night, right? Either you were very high on this Texans defense, and they could have not looked better than last night, and you think that's going to carry them along, or you were likely one of those people doubting the offense, and oh boy, the offense did absolutely nothing to convince you that this is really a team to be scared of.
Well, you can guess where I fall on that. I'm on the former.
Yep.
I love that Texans defense against the Patriots. I grabbed the Texans +3.
Now we're split then. I laid 2.5 with the Pats.
Give them to me. Niners +7.5, Texans +3. I'm in. Coming back on a numbers game.
Laptop or phone, couch or sportsbook, VSiN goes where you go. Wherever you watch VSiN, the experience stays seamless. Live shows, replays, and sports-specific clips all at your fingertips. VSiN Watch puts you in the driver's seat. Available in Roku, Samsung, Amazon, iOS, Android, app stores, or get it direct from the source at VSiN.com. Download VSiN Watch today on your favorite app store and join us on the Sports Betting Network.
This is VSiN, a network of sports betting analysts, writers, hosts, and handicappers, all here to help you become a more confident bettor. We broadcast live every day from Las Vegas, the sports betting capital of the world, and from studios across the country, giving you insight from every angle of the action. Take VSiN with you wherever you go with the VSiN Watch app, or catch us on streaming platforms and regional sports networks. You can also listen live on SiriusXM channel 158 and on radio stations nationwide. Check out VSiN.com as well for betting tools, exclusive betting splits, AI-powered player prop projections from Opta, pro picks for every game, plus in-depth betting guides and articles built to give you an edge. From sharp betting analysis and daily best bets to insider interviews and expert breakdowns, VSiN is your trusted source for everything happening in the world of sports betting. See everything we have to offer at VSiN.com and become part of the Sports Betting Network.
Coming up on Tuesday's edition of Money Moves, it's going to be great. Adam Burke, managing editor of VSiN.com, and our mid-major maestro is going to join us. Talk a little top 25 college basketball. 2 top 25 matchups and 8 total in the top 25 will be added. I love this team at home. We'll tell you which one it is. And we'll look ahead to a monster card in the NBA, and our final divisional round game is set. Who do we like in that new AFC matchup? We'll tell you who it is on Money Moves, 11 to 1 Pacific, 2 to 4 Eastern on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Want to bet smarter? Start with Smarter Insights. Right now, you can check out Greg Peterson's college basketball best bets. Steve Makinen has his traits of college basketball champions. Huh, that sounds interesting. And Parks Racing picks from Daily Racing Form. Later today, you can check out Zach Cohen's NBA best bets, Jonathan Davis's NHL picks and props, Wes Reynolds' Sony Open preview. Wes Reynolds ready to give out his first futures, or at least his first tournament futures of the year. Right now, use promo code ANG to save $60 off a VSiN Pro annual subscription at VSiN.com/subscribe. That's promo code ANG, Kelly.
ANG is in the numbers game.
Thank you very much. We get tweets beating the book. T-Pars 2, 3-0 on the courts last night. Let's go. You the man, Gilly. Actually, 4-0. I want to point that out. 4-0. Oh, and then let the calls for C.J. Stroud to be benched or not renewed begin. Ray in Texas cannot pay C.J. Stroud big money. Foos points out he's running for his life, has never had no line in the top third. Let's see how the Texans address that in the offseason before shipping him off. You said you even saw texts where people wanted to bench him now for Davis Mills.
I did just see a tweet from a bettor that was they better make a quarterback change before they bow out.
There was a text in our group text last night from I can't remember whom. I want to say Felica, but maybe not. Maybe it was Will. I don't know. Who said, are we sure Davis Mills isn't better than C.J. Stroud right now?
After that game, it's fair to ask, I guess.
This is from a Fire Jerry Jones at WNBA expert. He says, is it possible that one or two minds, Rufus, Dr. Bob, are shaping the entire market these days? Unscientifically, it was clear as day that game would play out that way 10 out of 10 times, even with Stroud playing that way in the first half. This was my point, man. Not the part about them shaping the market, but this was my point about how predictable this game was based on the handicap. Oh my, if only sports worked out this way all the time. Mm-hmm. Right, like here's the handicap. They're going to generate pass rush on the 42-year-old quarterback without even having to blitz. They're going to become inept on offense. And Houston did everything possible to give them that game. It was amazing. This is from, as far as one or two guys shaping the market. In football, no.
Yeah, I mean, that we still closed 3 on that game, right?
Yeah,
so
they're
not
shaping.
I don't know if I saw that move off 3 the whole week.
Nope.
Right? Opened there, stayed there the whole time. There was some, I know, lighter juice heading into it that last night. But
Bond Plate, thanks for the extra money, Gil. Your tennis picks are the number one reason I subscribe. Thank you, Bond Plate, for that. Fairway Fred, I wake up to a 4-0 this morning. Bravo, down under, my favorite place I've ever been. By the way, being Wednesday, what have you done for me lately? Like I said, I will handicap tonight's from all those spots, including Adelaide. They're playing at 500 at Adelaide, Kelly, on the women's side.
Good. It's officially here. Season's officially
here now. That's right. When Adelaide is
Adelaide.
Shrek McPhee, the entire game changed with that DK drop you mentioned. Aaron completely went away from him. Whole mood changed. Houston beats New England even without Nico. I'm with you. I really am. Bob C-137. Rogers will cover sports for Truth Social, he says. That's what he'll do to answer your question. Nash, last name Nash. Tomlin deciding to punt in the fourth with 9 minutes remaining shows the game has passed it by or he waved the white flag. With that amount of time, the Steelers punting wouldn't give them enough possessions to make a comeback. Ridiculous decision. Well, that's what I thought in the moment, too, last name Nash. That was the quintessential Mike Tomlin moment of all Mike Tomlins.
Yeah, I'd hate to say it, but I really took it as this game's over. The white flag, it was...
You can't do that.
I know you can't.
Eddie Prunella, Peyton was feeling physical pain when the Steelers punted in the fourth. Peyton Manning was on the alternate broadcast? Oh, I didn't know that. I was too. Brian Schaefer, what's Dave Ross's problem taking shots at you and Tim Murray's Commanders on his show earlier? Kelly, you want a little Commanders versus Cowboys radio?
No more ever again.
Shut O'Connor.
Ever.
These motivator coaches are not future for the NFL. Campbell lost all his good coordinators. Harbaugh was stuck with Roman. Tomlin got to deal with Arthur. This leads me to believe John Harbaugh may not be employed in 2026 as a head coach at least. Oh, he's taking it even further. I just will say this about the whole Tomlin thing. Because people are like, oh, he's got to go, or they're not going to bring him back. The Rooney family is not going to fire him. Let's just get that established. There is nothing about the history. It's Chuck Noll, it's Bill Cowher, and it's Mike Tomlin. They're not firing him. If Mike Tomlin wants to leave on his own volition, right, and go take a TV job, that's another story. But they're not firing him. They just don't do that.
What's the wording? Mutually agree to move on.
Mutually agree.
That's like minus 130 right now.
Yeah,
to me.
I don't know if that's the favorite or not.
You think he's in back?
I don't know. I mean, there's no evidence. He hasn't said anything, so there's no evidence to suggest that this will happen because it's not going to come from the other side, is what I'm saying. I'll say this again,
It is wild. Like, I mean, geez, season after season, right? This is incredible. The win total, going over the win totals, not having a losing regular season, and then just falling flat right away in the playoffs.
Is it 19 years in a row now? They flashed up 19 years in a row. So I think it's 19 years in a row without a losing record, all of his entire tenure in Pittsburgh. However, to Kelly's point, Steelers lose their 7th playoff game in a row. They now become the first team in NFL history to lose 5 consecutive playoff games by 10 or more points. Is that good?
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
So 7 in a row, the last 5 of which have all been by double digits.
Yeah, that's bad. That's really bad.
That is suboptimal. That's what we like to say about that. And then, Rodgers, we'll see. All I saw was them like following him through the tunnel and through the hallway and all that yesterday. I was like, okay, leave it alone. Will Rodgers not allow himself to leave on a pick six? Is the other question?
I would hope that's the game that says, all right, like this is why you even got to put yourself through this anymore, right? Like it's tough out there. There are some good defenses, and you looked real bad because of one of them in a game that I would think should be your last.
All right, so let's push this forward to next week.
Yep.
We have the chronology of events now. Bills at Broncos starts it off Saturday. So Bills, Broncos, Niners, Seahawks back-to-back on Saturday. Remember, the games are staggered later on Saturday and earlier on Sunday. So it's a 4:30 Eastern and 8 p.m. Eastern kickoff for the 2 games on Saturday. And that's a 3 p.m. Eastern and a 6:30 p.m. kickoff, a pair of kickoffs on Sunday. So Bills at Broncos. I did not make it. Is this Broncos are favored by 1.5 now?
Yeah, over at
DraftKings. Coming my way. That's why I couldn't believe. I mean, listen, I'm not a Broncos guy, but I couldn't believe the Bills were favored in this.
It's one of those you can find. I think it's gonna be a lot like the Jags-Bills game last week. Yeah, it's back and forth. There's pick'ems on the board. There's Bills 1. There's Broncos 1.
I don't have anything in this game. You?
So me neither, except for I did make a bet last night on what we were discussing yesterday. Nothing big. I took the Bills to win the AFC though. I am not sitting idly by and watching my guy Josh Allen have the playoff run of a lifetime and not gonna have a ticket on it. So I did take a little plus 250.
This is the football equivalent for you of betting a golfer every week and then 1 week not playing him.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you, Gil. That's exactly what it is. Yes.
Or the lottery equivalent of playing the same numbers every day and then one day not playing him and it wins.
I do legit feel though, like you and I were both on the Jags last week. Yeah. I kind of thought that was the. Yeah, I don't want to say de facto AFC Championship game, but man, whoever was going to win that game, I think it was going to be impressed by going forward. I think if he can roll into Jacksonville and win that game, yes, the defense is tougher here in Denver, but I'm not as worried about the offense as much as I was with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Niners at Seahawks. I grabbed the Niners yesterday plus 7.5. Has it come down at all?
So funny. So you grabbed the 7.5.
Yeah,
I laid 6
during the show yesterday.
I laid 6 on open. I just saw it is 7. It was 7.5 everywhere because I kept bringing it up. I am going to buy in on some of the Niners. Just wait. There's no rush if it's 7.5 everywhere, right? 5 minutes ago, FanDuel boy just ticked down to 7.
Yeah.
Which I kind of would expect that. I think this is 7 to 7.5 most of the week. Don't you? I think that keeps bouncing. I don't think we see it get at more than 7.5.
No, I don't think we'll see more than 7.5. The question is, does it go below 7? Is my only question on that.
If I had to say it goes one way, I would agree with you. I think it goes better chance of 6.5 than 8.
George Kittle out for the year with the Achilles now. Jair Brown, Niner safety, sustained a hamstring injury. He's unlikely to be available. Fred Warner. For weeks, there's been, I'll just read it here, for weeks there's been speculation that he could return. They made a deep postseason run with the Niners advancing to the divisional round. Mike Shanahan saying, still not very likely.
Yeah, what was?
Still not very high. Because remember, originally it was he'll be back for the championship game. Then they sort of moved it up to division round. But, I mean, that's aggressive. He completely destroyed his ankle earlier in the year.
I thought I saw a quote yesterday from him that basically saying he's ready to go whenever they want him to go, which I thought was a little odd.
Well, he's running on the sideline, doing some light running on the side during Thursday's practice this past week.
I think the one, though, where, you and I are split for right now on these games, I think the injuries are massive. I do. I think Kittle's going to be huge for the Niners. I think Nico Collins is going to be huge for the Texans being out.
Which Brock Purdy are we getting? Which Sam Darnold are we getting?
Right, yeah.
And I just think 7.5 is too many. 45.5 the total there. Sunday, Texans-Patriots. Told you I took the Texans +3. I think that defense is going to rule the roost in that game. And I think C.J. Stroud can't be any worse, right? Can't be any worse. Right?
You would
right?
think.
He says, question mark?
You would think, man.
Right?
I laid 2.5 with the Pats. It's not a huge bet for me, though. I thought this would be solid 3. I was a little shocked there were 2.5s out there.
And I got nothing on the Rams-Bears so far. You?
Me neither. I actually think that is the game most likely that I will not bet anything on.
The chance of snow, 30% right now during the ball game. 14-degree high. High, 14 degrees.
Ugh.
Wind chill factored in as well.
Time. There's nothing more valuable. It's what drives everyone to make the most of every moment. We celebrate living large in the now. In a city where time disappears, we create experiences that electrify the soul and memories that will last forever. We go big. We go all night. And here, everyone is invited. So get loose and get loud.
This is Circa. You'll have the time of your life.
Elevate your sports betting game with VSiN's exclusive betting splits. Stay ahead with real-time market trends and track bet percentages on any matchup, then uncover the edge by comparing them to the amount of bets placed to find out where the sharp money is headed. Upgrade to VSiN Pro to access betting splits, live odds, line moves, power ratings, and in-depth game analysis. Go to VSiN.com/pro to join VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Numbers Game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
ProphetX is the #1 place for college basketball and college football player props. They offer all players at all schools in every state. ProphetX is available. As we get closer to March Madness and the college football playoffs, take advantage of ProphetX's 20% purchase match. Download ProphetX now and experience the future of winning. Use promo code VSiN to get started. We get tweets beating the book RAE Network. Oh, he's a gentleman who introduced himself over at the Win to me the other day. He works over at the Win. He says, I was just looking at Super Bowl futures on stations. Are the Niners at 15-1 to win it possibly a consideration? I know they're plus 7.5 this weekend, but it feels like they could beat Seattle, then wouldn't be more than a field goal dog to the Bears or Rams. Well, as far as mathematical value, you'd have to try to put it in the old parlay calculator, right? This week's money line, what you project next week's money line would be against either opponent. And then what it would be or what it might be in a Super Bowl. So it's a little bit of dirty math because you don't know exactly what it is mathematically. But do I, in my heart of hearts, do I think the Niners win the Super Bowl? I do not. I do not feel they win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I do not either.
Do I think they can win this week? I do, but I don't think they get to the promised land.
I think you're probably better off just playing the money lines, right? Whatever the money line this week is.
Chris Hartman, Gill, with contract extensions coming after year 3, Houston must be ecstatic after last night's game. Stroud will want a $250 million deal, and they'll be able to show him highlights from that gem. Here you go, CJ. Take a look at this. By the way, CJ talking schmack to the Steelers fans after the game, too. I was like, hey, man, maybe pipe it down a little. I owe you S69. I'm sure earlier in the year, Will put out this bet. Steelers make the wild card but lose in the first round, which wish I had that market. Detroit Lions make Mike McDaniel... He can't refuse to become their OC. Okay, that was a bunch of run-ons, but I get what you're saying. You want Mike McDaniel to be the Lions OC. Didn't Will have the Steelers to get knocked out in the wild card round?
I believe he did, yeah.
It was like plus 320 or something like that?
So the way you would do that, I was kind of joking when I brought it up, but I think like if you're at a DraftKings, because we've looked at these markets, I guess DraftKings preseason, I don't know if they'll let you parlay it, but you could theoretically go over their win total and then stage of elimination to lose in the wild card round.
Rich PSM. The great Fezzik also picked the Steelers plus 3 on your Friday show. Made me hedge my playoff survivor play, which also lost. That was his aggregate. That was an aggregated play, wasn't it, Kelly? I believe.
I'm going to assume so.
Yeah, I'm going to assume so. You know they say about assuming, but in this case, I feel like we're on solid ground.
Yeah.
Let's talk some hockey.
Well, he referenced Bob, right? I think he referenced Bob.
He did
on
Bob.
Friday.
Well,
yeah.
I think I.
Did you? Okay.
Sort of nudged it that way. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk some hockey. Jake Hahn joins us now, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. Jake, the co-host of the Point, Monday through Friday, 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern, and the Fantasy Hockey Show, Fridays at 2 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM NHL. He joins us now, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. Jake, what's happening?
Not too much, guys. I enjoyed the little football chatter there, even though it was not a great weekend for yours truly in terms of cheering for his football team. Tough one for my Packers on Saturday night. I kind of felt like Leonardo DiCaprio in The Revenant getting ripped around by that bear. Jeez. Basically, that was the entire second half for me on Saturday night. So, hey, it happens being a sports fan. I just experienced it months ago with the Jays. Now, that was a different scenario being so close to a championship. So, hey, my team's out, but it was a great weekend of football, and I'm excited for this week.
Can we just, since you bring it up, can we just take 5 seconds to think about that Game 7 again?
Oh, I thought you were going to go with the Revenant.
Oh, the Jays and the Dodgers?
No.
Oh, my God.
Please, no.
Jeez. That's one of the great sporting events we'll ever see. All right, let me just ask you this. Is our great North American nightmare over, or a great hockey global nightmare over? Olympic test events, which usually occur months, if not years, before the Olympic Games begin. The men's hockey tournament begins February 11th, the women's on February 5th. They are saying now, the NHL is, we like what we're seeing with the ice. This is a go.
We got this.
Yes. Finally some positive news here, guys. It's been rough. Every update we get is not a great update, and you see the ice. Oh, there's a hole in the ice now. They got to fix that. And I think some of it, okay, you see a report on social media, maybe it's out there for clicks a little bit, and you hear people who actually know talk about it and say, hey, this is a normal process. You're working out the kinks with the ice. Nothing to worry about. They got plenty of time. See pictures of the locker rooms that they're unfinished. So there's been some problems, but I think we can all take a little bit of a sigh of relief now at this point. No, okay, at least we got something to play on. Is it going to be up to standard? Is it going to be maybe a little bit shorter in some spots? Yes, but these guys will play on anything. They've made that very clear. I don't think the players care. I think they're just excited to go over there and represent their countries for the first time in a very long time.
Okay, I know we usually have a bevy of picks for us, and I run you into the wall. So why don't we start with them now? What do you have in terms of sides?
I'm going to start with a money line play here, guys, and I'm going to just ride the hottest team in the National Hockey League right now, and it is the Tampa Bay Lightning, who are up to 10 wins in a row after dominating the Flyers in their last 2 games. At a bit of a scheduling quirk, they played in Philly on Saturday. They played in Philly on Monday, so they actually played the same team in the same place twice. They beat them going away both times, and Philly's actually had a pretty good season this year, and then they stay in Pennsylvania here. It will be their 3rd road game in 4 nights, guys, which I don't always love as a spot, but I just love riding a team like this that is just having a great time coming to the arena. They want to be there. They probably play every night if they can at this point, and they saved their best goaltender for this matchup. Their backup played last night. We get Vasilevsky tonight against the Penguins team that's still very leaky defensively. So I'd even maybe take a look at Tampa on the puck line, because they've just been running away with some of these games. But the minus 130 money line, if you could shop it down to minus 125, that's a play for me to just ride the hottest team in the NHL.
And finally, Jake, because we've been monitoring this all season, a full 15 points between the top and the bottom of the Eastern Conference. I think that's the most breathing room we've had in an otherwise pancaked conference all season long. 15.
That's right. We've finally seen some teams step up and actually play some good hockey. And I've referenced this on my shows a few times. January is moving month. To steal a golf term that I know Kelly will appreciate with the Sony Open coming up this week, this is like the Saturday. This is moving day, because we're not going to play hockey for the most part in February, NHL hockey at least. I think teams want to put themselves in a very good position before that, and then the trade deadline is going to happen after. So I think it's going to create some great hockey. It already has, and we're kind of starting to see that cream rise to the top.
All right. Some more sides?
It's only 15 points. It's incredible.
It's incredible.
It's incredible.
Yeah. It's amazing.
And we're talking about that as separation, which is just kind of speaks to what the season's gone to. I got one total for you guys here as well.
Okay.
An over 6 in the Ottawa and Vancouver game tonight. These are 2 teams dealing with a lot of issues right now. Ottawa on and off the ice, if you know the story that's going on there, but they want to figure it out on the ice. I think Ottawa can score on Vancouver. Vancouver has had a horrible time keeping it out of their net. Goaltending issues now with Demko hurt. They played last night. I think Ottawa is going to have really no trouble scoring on the Canucks tonight. And I think the Canucks can score on the Sens. I don't trust the Sens goaltending situation either at all right now. I think they could at least get a couple past them. So I played the over 6 at minus 120. If you have to, play the over 6.5 to get the plus money on this one. But I like goals tonight in Ottawa.
All right. Proposition bets. Jake would like to interest you in a proposition or two. What do you got here on props?
Let's go back to Tampa. I can sort of tie this into everything that I said about the Lightning, but this is a play I've been making anytime the Lightning play, and it's basically cashing every game. It's Nikita Kucherov for 2 points. It's plus money. I played it at plus 110, and I see that number maybe going up a little bit before we get to game time here. You could also play him for over 2.5 shots at minus 115. I believe that's a pretty good price as well. Hasn't been shooting as much as he usually does. He did have 6 shots last night against the Flyers, though. But a guy, if he's priced at that range, I think now you kind of buy the dip on the Kucherov shots. So Kucherov shots, Kucherov points, 2 angles I'm going to be looking at. Connor McDavid for 2 points as well. Just feels like an auto bet. Just play the best players in the world. And a lot of times you play these guys for 2 points and it's cashed in the first period if they have a really good night and the offense gets clicking early. Edmonton owns the Nashville Predators, particularly Leon Draisaitl, but we're just going to stick with McDavid here, minus 110 for 2 points in this hockey game. I also like Nick Ehlers over 2.5 shots for the Carolina Hurricanes in St. Louis tonight. Carolina likes to fire it. He's up on that top line right now. You can get plus money for him over 2.5 shots. So take your pick on some Canes. Gostisbehere is another one I wouldn't mind looking at in this game in the prop market. And finally, Boone Jenner, the Columbus Blue Jackets against the Calgary Flames. He's been firing it a lot lately. I was looking for a jacket to attack tonight because I think Calgary's in a pretty tricky spot. I feel like Columbus should be firing, and I settled on Boone Jenner plus 135 for over 2.5 shots. I think that's a good number for where he is in this offense right now.
Blue Jackets just fired their coach, if I'm not mistaken. Did I hear that?
They did. I'm glad you mentioned that, Gil. This is the first time we get to talk about that all season. We have not had a coach firing, which is amazing for the NHL. We usually have like 6 by now. So this is the first one, the first chance to play that coaching bump that people love to play. So I know there's going to be a lot of people blindly playing the Jackets. I don't hate that angle. It is an angle I've played many times in the past. I just don't really love laying minus 140 with the Jackets right now. And Calgary's been a little bit feisty. They had a really bad start to the season, but they'll give you a decent game. So Personally, it's not going to be a play for me on the Jackets tonight, but I understand there's a lot of people out there that just blindly play the coaching bump angle, and it does tend to work. I feel like teams do get a boost from it most of the time.
And last 30 seconds, because I grew up in D.C., Ovechkin has 917 goals. I think Tom Wilson has a couple more goals than he does. Otherwise, he's leading the Caps in goal scoring this year. He's really going to play till he gets to 1,000, isn't he? He's doing this.
I hope so. I hope so. He seems to be having a lot of fun, and I think the one thing that makes me think he might do so is that the Caps have actually built a pretty legitimate team around him now. Entice him to hang around. He wants to play important games. He wants to play in the playoffs as well, maybe compete for another Stanley Cup. So that might keep him hanging around for an extra year. And I'd love to see him chase 1,000. That would be really cool.
That would be as unbreakable as it gets, one would think. Thank you, Jake. Appreciate it so much, man.
Thanks, boys. Have yourself a great week.
You too. Jake Hahn, everybody. College Hoops with Matty Cox next on A Numbers Game.
VSiN's player prop projection tool is now available for the NBA. Get projections for points, assists, rebounds, and more powered by Opta AI. On VSiN.com/NBA props, we line up our projections against the latest DraftKings odds so you can quickly spot mismatches and find value before the market adjusts. The NBA player prop projections tool is available exclusively to VSiN Pro subscribers. Check it out now at VSiN.com/NBA props and join us on the Sports Betting Network.
Join the guru, John Hansen, at the intersection of prop betting and fantasy sports on Prop Points, only on VSiN.
You know what? I'm going to blame Andy Reid for cronyism because Matt Nagy stinks. A guy like Jefferson, you got to be a part of the solution, not part of the problem, and he's been part of the problem.
John and his guests will help you find the connection between the two and give you his expert advice on how to capitalize when a number is too good to pass up. Prop Points, weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on VSiN.
Numbers Game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Back on a Numbers Game live from Circle Resort Casino, downtown Las Vegas. Gil Alexander, Kelly Bidlin. If people could only see, we have our guys behind the glass, who we love. We couldn't do this without them. From Chris to Rob Moreno to Darnell to Larry Meir to everybody else besides those four core guys. Danny Higgins, of course. But sometimes they're in the studio, and there's like three of them, and they had to like scurry like rats out of here before we got back on.
Well, Chris Foster had to give us the countdown. I believe that was Chris. I've never heard Chris give the count back before. So yeah, the crew's scrambled today.
Man.
There are times, Gil. You know, me and you have done this show for what, 5 years together, over 5 years together now, in 3 different setups. There are times when I'm sitting out here with you, and I know something chaotic's going on behind there, and just the years of producing this itch on my brain begins to hurt when I want to know what's going on. This is not one of those days.
No.
Because we just have lights on cameras that are down, and it's like 4 people out here trying to fix them.
I'm just doing a radio show. Whatever else is happening, I have no idea. By the way, one clarification on the Fred Warner thing, because I want to point this out just to be thorough. Fred Warner is a different matter.
Right.
Fred Warner said on Russillo, Ryan Russillo does a great job, by the way. He said, on a possible return to the playoffs, I'm ready whenever they're ready.
Okay, so I'm glad I didn't just make that up earlier.
Yeah, I'm ready whenever they're ready. There's some T's that got to be crossed, I's that got to be dotted. If it were just up to me, I'd be out there this weekend against the Eagles. This is what he said last week, but it's unfortunately not that way. So he's ready to go, he says.
I guess I only caught the first part of that statement. The whole cross the T's, dot the I's things makes it sound like there's still some like tests he's got to pass or something.
Kelly, you always got to cross your T's and dot your I's.
You do, because otherwise people will not recognize those letters.
Yeah, it's very true. Let's talk some college hoops. He is 1/3, though perhaps more than 33.3%, maybe a little more than that, of the three-man weave trio. Kai, Jim, and Matt. Matty Cox joins us now. You can follow him on Twitter at Matty with a Y _COX. And you can follow 3Man Weave at 3MW _CBB. Talk some college hoops right now, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. How you doing, Matt?
Fellas, honor and a privilege. How are you on this fine Tuesday?
Honor and a privilege is ours.
Yes.
Come on, man.
Obviously.
I just want to follow up on the big themes here in college basketball because James Patrick Root, your colleague, was on with us last week, and I just started gushing over Michigan, right? I'm like, oh, my God. They're the third team ever to beat 3 ranked teams by 30-plus points or more, obviously crushing Gonzaga for their only loss by 40-plus, just rolling through teams, and then they just get by Penn State. Like, they had a double-digit lead against the Nittany Lions. They had a brush with a loss. They get by Penn State, and then while we were all watching football on Saturday, Michigan is at home. They're beating Wisconsin by 14 and lose to the Badgers because the Badgers, who were 242nd nationally in three-point percentage going in, shot 15 of 33 from behind the arc, and Wisconsin gets it done. A blip on the radar for Michigan or a something to be worried about?
I'll split the difference. Okay. I look at the UConn team from 2023. This was the first of their back-to-back dominance. We all forget they lost 7 conference games. I think when you get into conference play, especially in a league like the Big Ten, there's a lot of good coaches. You start to find schematical issues or areas to exploit. I think Michigan, they watched those 2 bigs that drop coverage with Mara, who's like 7'10", it looks like, on the floor. I think there have been some, you've seen the last 2 games, Penn State did it, but then also Wisconsin with Nick Boyd, Dusty May's former point guard actually at FAU. They really kind of found a way to attack that defense with all the length that they've been playing, that jumbo lineup. So I think Michigan will have to make some adjustments. It's just kind of like the evolving chess match of college basketball, especially in conference play, when I think the tape and the scouting gets really, really good. Especially in the Big Ten, which I think has a lot of great coaches schematically. So I think they're going to drop 1 or 2 more, at least in conference. But in terms of what do I think they are in the national totem pole, I still think they're top 3 easy. This is not like a long-term concern for me by any stretch.
All right, well, let me ask you about something else then, about a couple teams that we talked about maybe a month ago. When I asked this question in December, it's always like, oh, yeah, that's cute because they're going to lose eventually. We're now as close to March Madness as we are to the beginning of college basketball season, right? Chronologically, we're right in the middle here. Nebraska's still undefeated, 8th-ranked team in the country. Vanderbilt is still undefeated, the 10th ranked team in the country. How legit, I'll ask the heat check again, like how legit are these two teams' chances of actually getting to the Final Four and perhaps winning it all?
I think Vandy has a more legit operation. Nebraska has more size, so you could argue that they're maybe not as matchup, I guess not as bad matchup prone as Vandy might be, who doesn't have as much size. Maybe a big physical team like Houston or even like an Arizona or Michigan plays Vandy, and that could be a matchup kryptonite to them, where at least with Nebraska, you have big mass to sort of a counter. The problem with Nebraska, though, is they shoot so many threes, and they allow you to shoot so many threes. So every game to them is just a wild variance ride, very prone over a 6-game march to the title game. You're going to get, you're going to play with fire. So I think Vandy, and the thing with Vandy is they're so deep, and you could argue they don't really have like a go-to alpha dog, but I think that's what makes them so hard to scout and prepare for. I think that any given night they have sort of, they can remedy a cold shooting night or a cold night from one of their other key guys. I think Vandy's all the way legit. It was probably my best future ticket. I got them at 300-1 back in the summer. I think they're real. Mark Byington, I think, is maybe the best coach doing it right now. What he's done in that time, pretty crazy.
300-1, Kelly.
I'm looking at 18-1, so that means it was a good bet by Matt Cox.
You have 18-1? Oh, 18-1 now is what it is currently. I was like, when did Kelly bet that? Okay, so the 4 undefeateds, number 1 Arizona. We just mentioned the 2 of the others, Nebraska, number 8 Nebraska, number 10 Vandy. The other one is Iowa State, number 2 Iowa State. By the way, Arizona, all the number 1 votes in the poll except for 1 vote that went to Iowa State. They're the number 2 team in the country. They are at Allen Fieldhouse tonight at Kansas. That place is going to be bananas. Kelly, it's going to be off the meat rack.
Yeah.
What it's going to be tonight. 3.5-point favorites for what did I say, the Hawkeyes? I didn't mean that. I meant the Cyclones. 3.5-point favorites. The Cyclones are on the road. How do you see this tonight at Kansas?
Man, this is, all-time spot for Kansas. Bill Self as a dog is a rare occurrence, and usually it goes very well if you're back in KU in that spot. I remember when they played UConn, the national title UConn team, I believe it was 2 years ago, that game closed pick. That was not a good Kansas team, and they still won that game. They just played like the A++ game, and the refs are going to probably skew a few extra whistles for the home team there. I stayed away here. I'm just not going to bet Kansas here because Iowa State, they've done nothing wrong basically to date. They went to Purdue and took them to the woodshed. Now, Darren Peterson back looks much better. I just think this Kansas team is a wild roller coaster right now with him back. I think Peterson's awesome, but he kind of hijacks the offense sometimes. This is a good live bet game for me, Gil. I think there's going to be some crazy runs in this from halftime or just at certain stoppages. Just my hunch on that one, just given how KU's offense has evolved with Peterson kind of being a chucker, but a really good chucker when he's on.
This feels like everything you've ever processed about college basketball feels like a Kansas night, but man, if Iowa State can overcome this, that will be something. All right, where did you land in college hoops tonight?
I only have 2 tonight. I actually have a home dog in the SEC, Oklahoma against Florida. Florida's off 2 really good games, and you could argue maybe they're starting to regain their mojo at the sort of one of the repeat favorites people had coming into the year. But I think Oklahoma's guards are just better, frankly, in this matchup at home. Just feels like a good home dog type spot. The home team shoots well. And I know Oklahoma's front court's going to have a tall task going against that size of Florida, but their defense has been pretty good up front. They got some athletes up front this year, a little different than most of the Porter Moser teams in years past. They're off 2 tough losses. They really faltered against A&M down the stretch. Kind of think that's part of why there's a little more value of OU tonight. That game really played to like a pick 'em at A&M. I think they come back tonight at home and maybe not win outright, but this is not going to be a blowout. I just don't see that happening. So I like OU here +6.
OU +6 against a Florida team that has lost games, but none really that poorly, right? A lot of close losses, if I'm not mistaken, for Florida.
Correct. Yeah, their non-con, they had a lot of close but no cigars, and I think they're starting to kind of hit their stride. But again, I don't trust their backcourt. They're not very consistent, so I'm sort of betting on a Jekyll Hyde reversion to true mean tonight from Boogie Fland and Xavier Lee, who have been good but erratic most of this year.
Sooners +6 for Matt, and number 2 was?
And last one I got tonight is Virginia, and I split this between money line and +3.5. They're on the road at Louisville. Mikel Brown presumably out tonight. Louisville's been, very, they're Jekyll and Hyde, speak of the devil. But the problem with this matchup is Virginia's defense, I think on the perimeter, can really swallow up some of those guards for Louisville. Ryan Odom's team, they just have the more imposing front line. In Louisville, just look at all their games, not just this year, but last year. When they play like a legit team with size up front, they just struggle to get easy shots at the rim. It becomes very jump shot reliant. I think you kind of saw that against Duke in the second half when they really started to collapse. They Tennessee this year. And again, look at their games last year, right? I just think that this has kind of been a recurring theme for Pat Kelsey. They got bigger up front this year, but they're still not big enough. In the front court that Virginia boasts, it's just massive. Grillo and DeRitter are huge. I think Virginia's a bad matchup tonight.